Hi, I'm Suzanne with Clever Poverty, where we talk about clever tips for tiny budgets. In the last video, we talked about the two different types of Section 8 vouchers. It's a long video, but it has a lot of really important information in it that you need to know. So when you have time, I highly suggest that you watch it. This video, I'm just going to talk about the basic steps that you're going to have to take to do the plan if you want to do it the way that I did to get your Section 8 voucher. If you're living somewhere or there's somewhere that you want to live where the list is closed or the waiting list is 10 to 13 years, there's a way that you can have a Section 8 voucher there. I did it. I had to move away to get my voucher and move it back. You can do that. I'll tell you about how all that works. It's called porting. Every public housing authority must allow people who already have a Section 8 voucher to port it into their jurisdiction, even if the list is closed in that town. So even if the list is closed in that city, people who are on the list for that city, the waiting list is 10 to 13 years. You get to bypass all of that if you already have a Section 8 voucher. So this is the key. Go get a voucher somewhere else where it's easy to get and then port it. It's called porting. It's portable. Then you port it where you want to live. They have to let you in. Now you still have to find, a place that accepts Section 8, and we'll talk about that too. There are certain kinds of properties where they have to accept Section 8. That's another video. That's going to be in my list here real quick. So this is the mission. You will probably have to move away, but then you can bypass, the waiting lists and the closed lists and all of that, the long lists, by getting your voucher somewhere else and then porting it in. So this is how I did it. It's not easy. You probably have to move somewhere you're not going to really want to live, because wherever there's a list that's open and has a short waiting list, it's not going to be, I don't know, think of somewhere really fantastically wonderful. It's it's not going to be San Francisco, that's for sure. Anyway, so this is how you do it. So this is just going to be the list, and there'll be videos that go into the specifics. Okay, so the first thing right away, just while you're even learning all of this stuff, start working on your credit if your credit's not good. Because if you want to port, unless you want to port your voucher somewhere where there's no competition and they don't care if your score is good, fine. But it's still a good idea. So why not? And it's free. So start with your credit, and I'll show you a book. You want to start working on your credit like now. I highly suggest this book. I did not write it. I'm not a co-writer. I don't make money off it, but this book helped me a ton. Really start with this book. I got this at the library. Your Score by Anthony Davenport. His website is anthonymdavenport.com. You can learn what he says in here and do it yourself. He also has a company where they'll fix your credit score for you. And he said, don't sign up for those, fix your credit, what do they call, credit management things. Don't do it that way. He says it'll trash your credit. So he knows how to do it. I don't know what he charges, but anyway, start with the book, because there are just certain things in that are just easy, and you can immediately start working on your credit. So like I said, unless you want to move in the boonies, you should start working on your credit if your credit's not good now. Start saving money, because you're going to need move-in money. Okay, so save money. You're going to have to start doing that. Start doing that now, while you're learning and getting on lists and all that kind of stuff. I want you to focus on LIHTC properties. That's another video, like I said, but this is just your generic outline of the plan. Focus on LIHTC properties. That stands for low income housing tax credit properties. They are properties that are subsidized by the government. It's usually a partnership between city, county, and federal money. They provide low-income housing. They're government subsidized. They must take Section 8 vouchers. Now, you still have to, have decent credit and not have a horrible landlord references, but they specialize in it. So it's not going to be like like your neighbor Joe who's the landlord who decided to try Section 8 and then changes his mind and then wants to get rid of you. And, a landlord who wants to get rid of you is going to make your life miserable, and landlords hate Section 8, not even so much because of some bad tenant issues, but because of the paperwork, and they got the government all up their rear, and, inspections and LIHTC properties, they specialize in dealing with the government and the housing authority and all that. So it's just easy. Take the easier way. Okay, I'm going to focus on these. I'll tell you how to find them in another video. So you're going to want to get on lists where you want to live, where there's one of these. In the perfect world, there will be LIHTC properties. And any big city really is probably going to have them. So you're going to, before you even move away or anything, you're going to want to get on waiting lists of these. Because if it's an area where, like for me, I wanted to live in Silicon Valley, the wait lists for these are also long. The list was 3 to 5 years. So you get on this list right away, because if it takes 3 to 5 years to get the top of the list of the property you want to live in, for instance, where I am in Silicon Valley, you're on this list while you move away and you do all your other stuff. You're moving up this list at the same time. So this is the plan. Okay. So then you're gonna have to move, probably. Okay. Move to where the list is open and short. This is your mission. And like I say, in another video, we'll talk about how to find these. That is your mission. And where you can afford, to live there. Because to get a priority, you're probably already going to have to live there. You get priorities for certain things to get to the top of the list. So being local already gives you a priority. Some places if you're also working in that area, like say maybe you can get a part-time job if you can't work full-time. That might also bump you up, and you'll be able to find out what their priority list is. What can bump you up? They're not the same in all places. So you'll probably have to move there and be able to afford to live there while you wait for that voucher there. Most places where the list is short and open, it's also cheap to live. That's how I moved away. It's not as cheap as having your Section 8 voucher, but you can do it. Okay, it's going to be cheap enough in one of these kind of properties that already specializes for low income. And there are family ones and senior ones. Anyway, we'll go into that in another one too. Different places defines, as you know, if you're a senior, different places define senior by, you have to find out, like, if you're looking at a list even, senior, when you're like, well, is senior 55? Is it 60, 62, 63, 65? Everybody defines senior different. So anyway, but they do have family ones too. They're not all senior ones. So, if you're younger. Okay. And another priority is often if you're disabled, you get a priority. If you're a vet, yeah, baby, you can really get a really good priority. Okay, move up the list faster. Okay, where you can live forward. Okay, and then you do your time. And you wait to get your voucher. You get your voucher, and then the longest that a public housing authority, I didn't put that on here, places where the Section 8 list is kept, the keeper of the Section 8 list, that's the housing authority. So they're called public housing authorities, which, PHA, public housing authority. You might see that when you're, searching around and stuff. What was I saying? Oh, so the public housing authorities, they don't like it when people move around because they can end up having to pay for somebody who is no longer even living in their area. Anyway, so the law got changed so that they can't say that you can't port it anymore. They have to be able to let you. They all have to let you in if you already have a voucher, like I was saying. What the government did is it gave them a deadline. They can say that you have to stay there for 1 year once you get your voucher. So when I say do your time, your lease might only be 6 months. Some of them will let you out, I think, within 6 months, but the longest they can make you stay is 1 year. Okay, so just plan on that. So 1 year. 1 year with the voucher. We're talking with the voucher, okay? With the voucher. Not including the time you're waiting to get it. Once you get your voucher, then the timeline starts. You'll have a brand new lease. And they may only require you to be 6 months. The longest they can require is 1 year, okay, with your voucher. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Like I say, there'll be other videos that go into more depth, but just to kind of give you an idea of what you're in for. Now, and you're going to want to be in good standing, okay, because you cannot port your voucher if you're not in good standing with the housing authority. And that means pay your rent, pay it on time, don't cause problems that are major, that will get you in trouble. Don't get in trouble. You have the right to complain, if they're not fixing things or whatever, call a housing authority and say, hey, they haven't fixed my oven in 5 weeks, whatever. You have the right to complain. I'm not saying, just don't cause problems. Don't start beating up the guy across the hall that you can't stand, whatever. Pay your rent, don't cause major problems. So be in good standing. Okay. Very important. And, okay, no longer than 1 year. All right, and you're going to wait until you're at the top of the list. Wait until, wait for call from, remember the place that you got on the list for, of the place you wanted to live? And like I say, I'll help you figure out how to target them. But you're going to have to wait for them to call you, right? So you wait for a call from these guys to say, hey, you're at the top of the list. We'd like you to come in and interview and apply, whatever. And then you're going to have to be traveling to go meet them. So like I say, God, you're going to have to save money, man. All this traveling around and moving is expensive. Even if you just put everything outside and say for free on Craigslist and then you hop on a bus, you're still going to need deposit money and all that stuff. There are programs, though, I did learn that will help you with your security deposit. So if that's an issue, ask at the housing authorities, is there help with security deposit money? If they don't know, there's an organization called 211. I just wrote that down. 211. There's a website, or you can call them, and they can help you with things like that, like what's available. All right, so you wait to get that call, and then you apply, and they say, "Yay, we love you. Your credit is good enough. Blah blah blah. Your references are fantastic, and then we want you." And then you can port. Can you guys still see? Okay, yeah. So then you port your voucher. So you port, voucher. I have a weird V, but there you go. So then you port your voucher, and then you party. You celebrate. You buy some champagne, okay? So I hope that wasn't completely overwhelming. I was trying to make this video shorter with just kind of the basic bullet points of what we'll go over. If I can do it, you can do it. It's not going to be easy, and there's a ton of stuff you're going to have to learn, but let's say the maximum it takes you is 3 years. In 3 years you can have it. Like for me, here I am paying $223 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment with a balcony in a decent area. I mean, you're not going to live in Beverly Hills, right? But it's a decent area. I feel safe. I wouldn't want to go, walking around at night by myself probably, but it's an okay neighborhood. It's okay here. I'm fine. It's quiet. It's a quiet area. So, I got what I wanted. I'm here. I got my Section 8 voucher in Silicon Valley, where I can afford, and they can't kick me out except for good cause. And their contract with the government is for 55 years. There's still another 30 years on it. So, I can stay here and unless I live to be 100, I can stay here till I die, or they haul me off to assisted living. So I have stable, secure, safe housing now for the rest of my life. Was that worth a 3-year trek somewhere I didn't want to live? Yes. And not to say that I had some depression, because it's hard to move away from your loved ones, but was it worth it? Yes. Would I do it again? Yes, I would do it better because I know more now, but I can tell you how to avoid those mistakes. Okay, so thank you for being here. Hope to see you in the next video, and please like, subscribe, and leave comments and tips, things that you know that I missed, questions you have for me. I'd just love to hear from you. Okay, so take care. Suzanne with Clever Poverty, where we talk about clever tips for tiny budgets. Bye bye.